As Jack recovered from his illness, Tien noticed unusual signs in her body, stirring a new intuition. Secretly, she took a pregnancy test. The two red lines that appeared overwhelmed her with joy, yet also a hint of apprehension about telling Jack. For Jack, this news was a beautiful sign to fulfill his dream of a family. Without hesitation, he decided to organize their wedding immediately, wanting to give Tien and their unborn child a secure, loving home. The video opens with a magical dream sequence. Tien in a stunning white wedding dress, Jack in a sleek groom's suit, dancing amidst vibrant flowers. This dream abruptly shatters, revealing a feverish Jack and a worried Tien in reality. This stark contrast immediately hooks viewers, making them wonder about their journey. Witness Jack, elegant in his suit, his eyes filled with love as he approaches Tien. They'll walk a petal-strewn path, birds chirping their blessings. But what challenges lie ahead for this couple as they embark on this unexpected, yet beautiful new chapter? Watch to see how they navigate their future and build their dream together. As dawn unfurled its delicate golden threads across the sleepy hamlet, a tender silence enveloped the weathered wooden house where Tien, a beacon of unwavering devotion, tended to her ailing fiancé Jack. The air carried the faint scent of medicinal herbs and the earthy aroma of black bean porridge simmering on the stove, a labor of love crafted to coax him back to health. Jack lay propped against a pillow, his robust frame diminished by a fever that had raged for days, his brow damp with perspiration that glistened like dewdrops under the soft light filtering through the curtains. Tien, her eyes shadowed with sleepless nights, dipped a cloth into a basin of cool water, her touch a gentle caress as she pressed it to his forehead. "Jack, my heart," she murmured, her voice a silken thread of concern weaving through the stillness. "You gave me a fright last night. Please rest now and let me ease your pain." Jack stirred, his lips parting in a frail yet radiant smile that spoke of gratitude deeper than words. "Tien, you're my saving grace," he whispered, his voice a hoarse melody. "Thanks to you and Mom, I'm clawing my way out of this fog. Is that porridge for me? You made it, didn't you?" Her face softened, a shy bloom of pride coloring her cheeks as she nodded, lifting the steaming bowl with care. "I added fruit foam for strength. Eat, my love, it'll mend you." He accepted it with trembling hands, sipping slowly as Tien watched, her brow furrowing with a mother's instinct. Her fingers brushed his temple again, lingering as a shiver of worry coursed through her. "Your fever hasn't broken, Jack. It's still too warm. I beg you, let's go to the hospital again. I can't shake this dread." Jack chuckled, a weak but warm sound that danced in the air, setting the bowl aside with effort. "You're fussing like a guardian spirit, but you're wise. I'll go for your sake. And since it's time, I want you checked too. Your follow-up's been neglected too long." Tien's eyes widened, a storm of anxiety swirling within them as memories flooded back. "You've never been this frail since we met," she confessed, her voice quivering with the weight of recollection. "Back on the mountain, I'd fall ill with no healer in reach, no path to safety. Seeing you like this now, it terrifies me for you and your mother." She hasn't closed her eyes, pacing like a sentinel all night. Jack reached for her hand, his grip a fragile yet resolute anchor despite his weakness. "I'm sturdier than I seem, Tien, but I'll go to ease your heart and Mom's. Having loved ones near in sickness is a treasure I learned as a child. Once when I was small, Mom whisked me to the hospital over a fever. Nothing grave, but her devotion shaped me." Tien's spirit lifted slightly, her fears softening under his reassurance. She shared how you're diligent with checkups, but this illness, it's unlike anything I've seen in you. Please, let's get you seen by experts. Jack's resolve solidified, his gaze locking with hers. Agreed. We'll go together. Your health is my priority too. Share this fruit with me. Mom picked it fresh this morning. He offered a juicy slice, their fingers brushing in a silent pact sealed by love. No more delays, let's prepare after this. Those clouds look heavy. Rain might stall the farm work. Tien glanced out, where dark skies loomed like a portent. If it floods like before, those bridges you built will be our lifeline again. The harvest could halt. Jack squeezed her hand, his voice a vow carved in stone. Then we'll weather it as one. Finish your fruit, we leave soon. The car rattled along the uneven, winding road, its engine a steady pulse against the thickening tension that hung like a veil between them. Tien gripped the dashboard, a wave of nausea rising as the motion unsettled her stomach, her face paling despite her valiant attempt at a smile. I get a touch of car sickness, Jack, she admitted, her voice a fragile whisper laced with effort. Jack, his own strength waning, fumbled for his phone as it rang with insistent urgency, the sound cutting through the silence like a sharp blade. It's Mom, take it, love, he urged, his tone gentle yet strained. Tien pressed the speaker, her voice brightening like a fragile dawn breaking through storm clouds. Hello, Mom. We're almost there. Jack's mother's voice crackled through, a torrent of maternal worry and relief flooding the line. Jack, my precious boy, are you and Tien safe? I just staggered back from the market, my heart in knots since last night. Go get checked thoroughly, and don't you dare skip Tien's follow-up. She's been too wrapped up in caring for you to tend to herself. Jack nodded, though unseen, his voice steady despite the fatigue etching his features. We're on it, Mom. I'll call after, take care yourself. The call ended with a soft click, leaving a heavy, contemplative silence that pressed against their chests, amplifying the gravity of the day ahead. At the hospital, the air thrummed with the sterile hum of life and healing, a stark contrast to the warmth they'd left behind. Jack, his steps faltering with a dizziness that clouded his vision like a morning mist, registered for a comprehensive checkup, his hand trembling as he filled out the forms. Tien, her heart a drumbeat of hope and fear, signed up for her gynecological exam, her fingers lingering on the pen as she steadied her nerves. I feel lightheaded, Tien, Jack confessed, leaning against the cool, impersonal wall for support, his breath shallow. She steadied him with a tender hand, her touch a lifeline in the clinical chaos. Sit here. I'll wait for my name. You head to room 2 and take it slow, she instructed, her voice a soothing balm. As he shuffled away, his silhouette a shadow of his usual vigor, Tien sank into a hard plastic chair, her mind a tempest of dread and silent prayers, each tick of the clock stretching her patience thin. Minutes bled into an eternity before they reunited in the corridor, both freshly examined, their faces a mirror of relief and lingering uncertainty. Jack managed a reassuring smile, though his pallor betrayed the toll of his ordeal. I'm okay, love. Just exhaustion and a touch of weakness. Doctor sending 2 tests to Hanoi in a week. Nothing dire, he says. Tien exhaled, a rush of relief warring with persistent concern, her eyes searching his. Promise to rest at home? And those tests, keep me in the loop, every detail. He nodded, his smile softening with affection. Only for you and Mom. Now, how did your visit unfold? A nurse's call, crisp and authoritative, summoned them back to a small, brightly lit room where the doctor awaited, a figure of calm authority with a rare, warm smile that seemed to chase away the room's clinical chill. Congratulations, Ms. Lytutien, he began, his voice a resonant chord of certainty and hope. Your hormones are balanced, your cycles regular. A marked improvement since your last visit. Your dedication to treatment, the careful diet, and that resilient spirit of yours are paying off handsomely. Continue this regimen with unwavering commitment. Nourish yourself with wholesome foods, and cradle a positive outlook. In 5 more months, with continued progress, natural pregnancy could be within your grasp. A beautiful possibility on the horizon. Tien's breath hitched, a sob of elation catching in her throat as tears of joy spilled over, her hands trembling with disbelief and wonder. Truly? After all the uncertainty, the sleepless nights of doubt? Jack's eyes gleamed with unbridled pride, his hand enveloping hers in a tight, joyful grip that spoke of shared triumph. I always knew you'd conquer this, Tien. We'll follow every word, every step, together. The doctor handed over a prescription, his tone firm yet kind, a lighthouse guiding them forward. Stick to the medications, buy the supplements at the pharmacy outside, and return in 5 months. You're on a promising path, but diligence is key. As they stepped into the corridor, Tien's face radiated pure, unadulterated bliss, her voice a melody of celebration. Let's celebrate, my treat. A drink, Jack, to mark this day. He chuckled, a spark of mischief igniting in his weary eyes. Only if we shop for you first, sun gear for those grueling harvest days under that relentless sun. Then you choose the spot. Her laughter rang out, a symphony of hope against the hospital's sterile walls, a sound that danced with the promise of new beginnings. Yet, as they gathered their belongings, a shadow of doubt crept in. A nurse approached, her expression grave, handing Jack an additional note. The doctor added a caution, your dizziness might hint at something more. Await those test results with care. Jack's smile faltered, a flicker of unease crossing his features as he tucked the note away, unwilling to dim Tien's joy. It's nothing, love, just a formality, he assured. Buoyed by the hospital's hopeful verdict, Tien's spirit soared to new heights as they stepped into the vibrant chaos of the local market. Its stalls a dazzling tapestry of colors, scents, and bustling life. Let's get you a sun hat or jacket first, Jack insisted, his voice laced with a protective fervor that burned bright despite his fatigue, his eyes tracing the worn fabric of her harvest gear with concern. Tien demurred, her practicality a quiet anchor. Something affordable. I hate splurging on work clothes when the fields demand so much. But Jack's resolve was an unyielding fortress. Pick 2. Your health is my greatest treasure. This jacket's ideal for shielding you from that merciless sun. She relented, her fingers tracing the soft weave of a light blue jacket and a cream hat, her smile a reluctant bloom of gratitude that softened her resolve. Just 2, Jack. Let's save the rest for what truly matters. He paid with a swift, decisive motion, then paused with a teasing grin that crinkled the corners of his eyes. Anything else catch your fancy? Tien's eyes danced with a sudden impish impulse, her voice alight with mischief. A gift for you. Let me choose this time. Jack waved it off with a hearty laugh, his hands raised in mock surrender. I've got more than enough, he protested, but her determination was a tidal wave, irresistible and fierce. Spotting a pair of sleek running shoes gleaming under the market lights, she tugged him toward the display with the enthusiasm of a child. Try these, size 42, right? Perfect for your morning runs. He slipped them on, the fit snug and flawless, a perfect harmony of form and function. Spot on, Tien. You've a gift for this, truly an artist's eye, he praised, his voice warm with admiration. At 499,000 VND after a generous discount that felt like a stroke of luck, she beamed. handing over the cash with a pride that swelled her chest. "My treat. Finally something for you, my rock." They meandered to a tranquil cafe nestled like a hidden gem, its garden a paradise of blooming flowers swaying in the breeze, fish darting in a pond that mirrored the sky's shifting hues. Tien gasped, her voice a delighted trill that rose above the gentle hum of the place. "Look, Jack, fish in every hue, gold and red dancing together like a living rainbow." Jack grinned, ordering guava juice for her and a light tea for himself, the air alive with the intoxicating scent of jasmine and earth. As they settled at a table framed by vibrant blooms, his phone buzzed with insistent urgency. "Mom again," her voice a lifeline across the distance. "Jack," the doctor confirmed. "It's flu B. Rest, eat well, and don't overdo it." "How's Tien?" He relayed the joyful update, her progress a soothing balm to his mother's anxiety, his words painting a picture of hope. Hanging up, he turned to Tien with a tender smile that melted the day's trials. "She's over the moon for you. Now drink. Toast to your strength and our future." Tien sipped, her voice softening with a dream long cradled in her heart. "I've always yearned to learn cooking. Maybe bake and sell at the market instead of toiling in the fields. Could I manage such a leap?" Jack's face lit up, his belief in her an unshakable beacon. "You'd master it with grace. I'll back you every step, every recipe. First taste tester. I swear on my love for you." Her eyes sparkled with a vision that painted the air with color. And a farm lush with greenery, flowers everywhere. A retreat from life's relentless storms. A place where we can breathe. Jack leaned closer, his voice fervent with a promise etched in steel. "I'll design it myself, safe for you. A sanctuary where we can heal. No more heavy loads, Tien. Spare your strength. Let the earth bear less of your burden." She nodded, tears of hope glistening like morning dew. "A future so radiant. Just stay healthy, Jack. You're my foundation, my unshakable pillar." He clinked her glass, his voice a vow carried on the wind. To health, love, and dreams united forever. As they talked, a hidden memory stirred. A secret wedding vow exchanged in solitude under a canopy of stars, its beauty locked away, its revelation poised to transform their bond. Suddenly, a shadow loomed as a stranger's gaze pierced through the crowd from across the cafe, his presence a dark ripple in their serene pool. Jack tensed, his hand tightening around hers as he whispered, "Stay close, something's off, a shadow I can't place." Tien's heart raced, the joy of their plans now tinged with a thrilling, uncertain edge, her eyes darting to the figure who seemed to know more than he should. The stranger rose, his movements deliberate, and approached with a measured step, his voice low and cryptic. "Jack Tien, your past catches up. That day you thought was yours alone. It wasn't unseen." Jack's breath caught, his mind reeling back to a clandestine ceremony, a wedding dress shimmering in moonlight, a promise made in secret. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice a mix of defiance and dread. The stranger smiled, an enigma wrapped in shadows. "A witness, a keeper of truths. Your love's strength will be tested, prepare." Before they could press further, he vanished into the crowd, leaving a chill that settled over them like a shroud. Tien clung to Jack, her voice a trembling whisper. What did he mean? Our wedding, was it real? Jack pulled her close, his resolve hardening. We'll uncover it together, love, no matter the cost. Our dreams, our future, they're worth fighting for. The cafe's tranquility now held a suspenseful hum, their love a beacon against an encroaching mystery, their bond poised on the brink of revelation and danger.
Several months before, I invited Phyllis to have lunch with me the next day, and we quickly established accepted some common ground. We were about 10 years apart in age, but she had also been with her husband for about 50 years. She talked of how they met and what their life had been like, and I could tell by her stories and the warmth of her tone of voice that she, too, had a happy marriage. Then it was my turn, and all I could do was cry as I told the story of my own husband's battle with cancer and chronic pain. As unquote, I'm used to asking people what they have learned from their experiences, so it was natural for me to ask her for advice on what happened her deal with the crushing grief. Obviously, she has been doing something right to be so full of vitality and joy after such a short time. She described it, her travels around the world with sparkling eyes and her plans for the next year with a joyful smile. What a contrast to how I was. Phyllis had been so open with me. I felt encouraged her to ask her, did you ever feel